Good afternoon. Welcome to Who's Tom and Dick? With your hosts, Martin Weavers and Patrick Mortimer.
Well, it's nice to do another podcast today, Patrick. How are you doing?
Yes, good afternoon to you too.
I forgot the good afternoon bit.
You got carried away there, didn't you? Sitting in this lovely garden here.
I did. That's what I wanted to tell everybody. So yeah, normally we have to apologise, don't we, for noises in the background. Well, we've got a slight noise in the background.
Got somebody who wants to be famous.
Yeah,
here,
that's
today.
right. I think he wants his mum.
Lay down.
But we're sitting in the garden here in Kent of Cheryl Baker from Bucks Fizz. So good afternoon, Cheryl.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
Cheryl.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. You look
Thank
well,
you very
actually.
much. I am well.
Yeah. Thanks very much for coming on to our podcast.
That's right. I'm happy to be here.
And we're really grateful for you giving us the time.
What did Cheryl tell us? She's the first
Woman.
Yeah.
Yes, the first lady celebrity we have on here.
Yeah, I said, who else have you done? And you went, this bloke, this bloke, this bloke, this bloke, this bloke. Where's the girls?
I know. That's strange. We haven't really thought of it, have we? I've never given it a thought until you mentioned it.
It's just as it comes along, I suppose. But
tell us about how it all started, Cheryl.
All of it.
Well, from the beginning, how you got into music and how you got into singing. And
I always wanted to be a singer, always.
Right.
I mean, from being a small child, that's all I ever wanted to do.
Yeah.
But then at secondary school, I thought, well, that's not going to happen because I live in a council flat in Bethnal Green. So I thought maybe one day I'll sing in a pub at the end of the road. So at school, I studied shorthand and typing, took a secretarial course, left school at 16, went to work as a secretary, and did that for 5 years. And my last job, I was working for Overco Foods, which was me and Joshua Levinsky, just him, the whole company. He was Israeli, and he used to import oranges from Israel, and then we would turn them into orange juice.
Mm-hmm.
And as always happens, as is happening now, there was, the threat of a war. There'd just been the Yom Kippur War in 1974. There was another threat in 1975. And everyone from Israel up to a certain age they have to do a stint in the army, and they have to be in the reservist army just in case. So he flew home.
Mm-hmm.
So I went into the office. It was in Edgware Road. Got there, sat at my typewriter, no computers then. I got into work, and on my typewriter was a note from Josh, gone back to Israel. And he was there for 2 weeks. And in that 2 weeks, I was bored. And I bought an NME and a melody maker, and I always looked at the situations vacant, singers wanted at the back. And this particular, first week, nothing. Second week, there it was, girl singer required for harmony band. And as Martin knows, it's all about harmony for me. I don't care to be, I'm not bothered about being a lead singer.
Yeah.
I want to sing harmony. And so I rang this number. I rang my mum. I went, Mum, what do you think? She went, ring 'em. I rang my sister. She went, ring 'em. And so I rang the number, and it was a blooming switchboard. I thought it was someone sitting at home, and on their sofa picking up the phone. But it was a switchboard. I thought, oh, this is too big for me. Anyway, I said, I'm ringing about the job, girl singer. And she said, I'll put you through to Mr. Miller. And it was the manager of this band. His name was Slim Miller. And he went, Miller. And I went, oh, hello, I'm ringing about the girl singer required. And he went, what's your name? And I said, Rita Crudgington. And he said, well, that'll have to go.
Oh, dear.
So he said that the band were in summer season in Blackpool at the Royal Opera House. They were supporting Freddie Starr, who was huge then.
Yeah.
And they were coming down on Sunday. That Sunday was their day off. They were coming down and doing auditions. And luckily, they came from Leytonstone. So Bethnal Green to Leytonstone is a 15-minute drive. So I thought, well, I can do that. So I auditioned on the Sunday, and I thought, I'm never going to get it. But the first things they asked me to do was singing harmonies. And I can do that.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so they gave me the line, remembered it like that, sang it back to them. Oh, they must have thought, That was all right. Another song. Breeze. And then they said, sing a solo. And I went, you've got a friend. Nerves, wobbly voice. It was awful. So I thought, well, that's it. I've just blown it. Went to my sister's, she had German Shepherds, played with the dogs, hairs all over me, creased clothes, phone call. Can you come back? I went, got in the car, drove back there looking like a mess. And they gave me some more songs to sing, harmony of, and said, right, we'll let you know by Wednesday. So I said, okay. So I drove home and my mum said, how'd it go? And I went, I haven't got it. And then I had a phone call that night saying, you got the job. Can you come up to Blackpool? And I went, when? They went, now.
Right.
And was this for Coco?
Yes, and they were called Mother's Pride at the time.
Right.
So I went into work the next day and Joshua was back.
Right.
Josh, welcome back. By the way, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, I've always wanted to be a singer. And he said, yeah. And I said, well, I've auditioned for this band and they want me to join them. And he said, then go. I remember him repeating it. He was angry with me.
Yeah.
So I went.
Right.
And then look at the rest is history, as they say. I mean, when you look at your career, I mean, we before the interview, we did look up your name. I mean, I know pretty much most of it anyway.
What, most of my name?
Your career.
Spell it, go on, spell it.
But you've been a TV presenter, you've been a pop star. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer being on TV, TV presenting or singing?
Singing.
Singing, really?
Singing. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, singing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't do any presenting anymore because it's a very ageist industry.
Yeah.
But in the 90s in particular, I suppose the first television programme that I presented was 1984, and that was called How Dare You? And then it progressed from there.
Yeah.
And then in the 90s, that's all I did.
And you had your own show.
Yeah, Eggs and Baker. Yeah. But
the dog has got the ball now.
I did enjoy it. I really loved doing the presenting. And I could do it because I had the twins by then.
Yeah.
And it was like a day job.
Yeah.
I'd drive to the BBC or wherever I was working and do the filming, and then I'd be home for tea. The same as going to work 9 to 5, and if I could, I would take the kids with me.
Yeah.
And if I was filming abroad, I worked for a TV channel called the Travel Channel. Did loads. I did work for them for quite a few years, and because I had the twins, they used to send me on location for family holidays and things. It was great.
Yeah.
So I was working, and I was
Yeah.
getting to bring the kids with me as well. So there was one time they were 4, and they sent us to Disneyland, or is it Disney World, whichever the one is in Florida.
Yeah.
My sister came so that if I was doing pieces to camera or something, she could look after the kids. And we did loads of filming. We were there for 10 days, I think. We did so much of everything. And the kids would go, Mummy, do we have to? And I go, it's Mummy's work. And we hate your work. And so funny. And at the end, there was, of course, we stayed in a Disney resort and there was a swimming pool. And every morning, the producer, Petra, would say, Cheryl, she's terrible. Cheryl, would you mind? Could I take the children swimming? Because they swam like fish, even at the age of 4. And she'd take them swimming. So in the end, I had to interview them and say, what was the best thing about Disney World for you? And they said, the pool.
Now we get a lot of people listening in America and all over the world, really, don't we?
Yeah.
But mainly we get sort of Europe and America and all that, and so some people will obviously know about the song contest called the Eurovision Song Contest.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they have in America, that kind of equivalent.
They don't have anything that's
don't
equivalent.
They really?
No. But apparently they are going to have an interstate sort of Eurovision. I don't know what they're going to call it, but I think that it's watched over there now.
Yeah.
And so they're going to do an equivalent, but interstate. So it won't be the same, will it?
Because I sat there thinking the other night, it's such a big place. What is their equivalent of our Eurovision Song Contest? But anyway, you've had 2 bites at the Song Contest, haven't you?
Yeah, I did 1978. So go back to what I just said. Joined this
Where you come?
band. Joined the
11.
band. Yeah, joined the band in 1975. Did the very first Song for Europe from the Royal Albert Hall in 1976, and thankfully lost by 2 points because I wasn't ready.
No.
I'd been a professional for about 3 months. It was nuts. So lost by 2 points to Brotherhood of Man, and then can you breathe quieter, Cuba?
Patrick.
Marching.
And then 2 years later, we did the Song for Europe again and we won. And we went to Paris to do the Eurovision Song Contest as Coco with a song called The Bad Old Days. And yes, we came 11th, which sounds all right. But it was the worst the UK had ever done at that time.
Oh, blimey.
So I felt like I'd let the Queen down. It was awful. It was a horrible experience.
I remember reading that.
It was a horrible experience.
Well, if you think that, but anybody else who's a singer would love to have been 11th in that competition, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Eurovision Song Contest in those days was important, wasn't it? Whereas now it's a bit of a farce, don't you think?
No, I don't think it's a farce.
Don't you?
No. I think it's bigger and I think it's magnificent.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
I agree with you there, but what I don't like is it's got political. I don't like that bit of it.
Yeah,
it was when we did it, the IRA were threatening to disrupt the competition. It's always been political.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's more so now, I think, because it's bigger.
Yeah.
It's so much bigger. And of course, this year with the Israeli conflict and everything, but then, a couple of years ago, Ukraine, there's always something going on in the world. And why would they not try and make a statement at the biggest international competition in the world? There's nothing bigger than the Eurovision. Of course, it's the perfect platform for them.
Yeah.
So they will do that. If they want to complain about anything, they're going to do it at the Eurovision.
Yeah.
So it's
always
talking
political.
this year about it, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think it's too sexualised now. I think it's too suggestive. And as Mike Nolan said, it's too smutty.
What was that one? He was naked in the thing this year, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I saw a photo and actually he had a pair of shorts on and something dangling from one side. I think we all know what was dangling. And I thought, that's really not nice. That's the smutty side of it. Yeah. But I still love it. I think it's superb.
So would I, especially in 1981. And I remember.
What happened then?
I remember being in a Chinese restaurant, getting a takeaway, seeing Bucks Fizz had won it.
You mean you didn't watch the competition?
I was out
and your
that
wife
night.
was my cousin, and you didn't watch the blimmin' competition. Shame on you, Martin.
Actually, I had met your cousin by then. Yeah, I had met your cousin by then. So, but you tell the story what it's like, and sitting there waiting for the results, and you've won the Eurovision. Wow, it's just
It was my childhood dream.
Yeah.
It was from watching Sandy Shaw in 1967. But I didn't think it would ever happen. Of course it's not going to happen. I'm Rita Crudgington from Bethnal Green. It's not going to happen to me. But actually, Sandy Shaw did give me incentive because she came from Dagenham.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, she's an ordinary girl. It did happen to her. So 1981, 1980, I'd left Coco and I was working in the recording studio where we did all of our recording. It was called Mayfair Sound. And I was doing their secretarial work. I was answering their phones, typing their letters and invoices, doing backing singing for anyone. B.A. Robertson. I did loads of stuff for B.A. Robertson. Anyone who came in who needed some BVs, I would do them.
Yeah.
And then came this woman called Nicola Martin, who I knew because she was a friend of the couple who owned Mayfair Sound. And whenever there was an event that they put on or party or something, they would always invite Nicola and also me. So I knew her through them. And she came in this one day and she said, "Cheryl, why are you here?" And I said, I've left Coco. So she clocked this. And then a couple of months later, I had a phone call, Nicola Martin, and I'm putting a band together for the Song for Europe. Do you want to be in it? So I went, might as well do that.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad can video it.
Yeah.
And that's how I came to be in Bucks Fizz. It was called Bucks Fizz because when they did the demo of Making Your Mind Up, they did it with Mike Nolan doing the male vocals because he was a mate of hers and she did all the female vocals. And they put down several demos of different songs. and she was drinking Bucks Fizz at the time.
Right.
And there's a form you have to fill in, name of artist, and she went, "Oh, Bucks Fizz." Yeah,
Right.
because she was holding Bucks Fizz.
Just simple as that.
Yeah. So I went along. I heard the song. Andy Hill, who wrote it, played it on the piano. Thought, it's not that good, is it? But I thought it could do well in the competition. And I wasn't going to say no because I was going to get on the telly. And I wasn't thinking, I want to be on the telly. I was thinking, your mum and dad, they're going to watch their little girl on the telly, you know? So I said, yeah, I'd love to do it. That was on the 7th of Jan, 1981. On the 11th of Jan, went back to her house, went into the lounge and was introduced to Jay and to Bobby. Mike was already at my audition. He was there already, so I'd met him. And she walked in the door, Nicola, and she said, "You four are Bucks Fizz."
Wow.
And that's when it started.
Yeah.
You must have felt on top of the world then.
Well, I was joining another band.
It was doing what you wanted to do
Yeah.
and entering what you wanted.
Yeah, but I didn't think we'd win. I mean, you got up against a lot of competition.
God,
I didn't particularly like the song. So I didn't have that much confidence in it. And I'd lost Eurovision before. So I was going in eyes open, thinking, not expecting the best at all.
No.
In fact, expecting the worst.
Yeah.
And being prepared for it.
Yeah.
Well, you've been through that once, haven't you? So
Yeah, exactly.
you've got to get the confidence, really.
And who come up with the gimmick where you lose your skirts?
The choreographer, Chrissy Wickham. So it was because we were discussing the outfits. We'd already decided we were going to wear bright colours. So it was always going to be red, yellow, green, blue. And I wanted to wear a skirt to the knee because I really like my legs from the knee down and I really don't like them from the knee up because I was just very athletic and they're really muscly, short and muscly. So, but Jay is tiny and she wanted to wear a miniskirt. And I understand why, it would be more attractive maybe to wear miniskirts. And we were toing and froing with this, well, are we going to, aren't we going to, what length are we going to wear? And I went, oh, for goodness sake, let's just have both. And Chrissy Wickham went, oh, that's it. That's it. On the line, if you want to see some more, we take the top skirt off and the little ones underneath. Yeah. So it came about by chance. And I truly believe we would not have won the Eurovision had it not been for the skirt.
Really?
And you'd have been talking to Lena from Germany now.
Yeah. I don't know if our expenses take us to Germany. But
we struggle to speak English.
Have you still got the skirt? Have you still got the skirt?
No. That went decades ago to charity. I don't know who bought it. And I've had copies made and sold them for charity. Sold for thousands. It's not even the original.
Really?
But we get what we do now. We'd still rip our skirts off, even though I'm 192. And you buy a skirt that's a size too big, and you cut it up a seam, and you put the Velcro on, and then it folds over, and you've got a rip-off skirt. Right. Very easy.
There you go, folks. Yeah. Patrick will be trying that tonight.
For your 70s gig.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Talking to charities and all that, obviously you had the... should we talk about the... if we can talk about, if you don't mind talking about the bus crash.
Yeah, no.
That you had,
of course.
Obviously, you was hurt in that.
Yeah.
And out of that come like a head first charity. But you tell us the story of that. I mean,
It was Newcastle upon Tyne. We'd done the gig at the City Hall that night, and it was sold out, and it was amazing. Remember it, don't you? And we were filming the next day. We've been filming that day, actually. We did Razzmatazz TV show.
Oh, I
And the next
that.
day we were doing How Dare You, which I was presenting. So all the crew were there and the rest of the presenters. We had a fantastic plush bus coach that had only been used a couple of weeks before, so it was practically brand new. And
this is like the tour bus, is it? Or your regular one, yeah?
Tour bus, yeah.
Yeah.
And we boarded the bus and we had about a 12-minute journey to get to the hotel, the Gosforth Park Hotel.
Yeah.
But the A1, we had to travel on the A1 and the oncoming traffic was diverted onto our side of the road because of roadworks. And so our dual carriageway became two-way traffic.
Yeah.
And Mike Nolan went to the front of the bus to get some Ferrero Rocher that someone had thrown onto the stage for him. And they weren't there. And so he said to the driver that he blamed the driver. He said that he'd taken them. And the driver went, his name's Pete Black. He went, Cheryl, come down here. That bloody Noland. We always call him Noland.
Oh, right.
That bloody Noland. He says, I've pinched his Ferrero Rocher. So I walked to the front of the bus. And the next thing I knew, I was lying in the road.
Really?
Don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
Don't remember it. To this day, neither does Mike. We both went through the windscreen. So did our guitarist, Steve Laurie. So did the driver, Pete Black. And Pete remembers it. We've seen him since. And Steve Laurie remembers it because he didn't pass out or anything. I woke up in the road. It was weird. Weird. Is that what's happened, where am I moment?
Was it a quiet moment, and first of all, and then suddenly?
No, it wasn't quiet.
Ah.
It was opening your eyes and seeing blue lights and and people standing over you.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I'll tell you what it was like. It was like my mum was trying to wake me up to go to school.
Yeah.
Read, wake up, read, hurry up. And that was, but I wasn't being called Rachel, I was being called Cheryl.
Yeah.
It was really strange. And the first thing I did when I realised what had happened was I moved my legs because I thought, if I've broken my back.
Yeah.
And as it happened, I did break my back, but only the vertebrae. I broke 3 vertebrae.
3, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because what we do with our show, we try and, bring in medical stuff. And obviously, with what you've done, that was a huge, big thing in your life.
Absolutely.
And I'm just glad that, Mike's cut, well, he was still singing, wasn't he? It still is.
Still singing,
so,
yeah. He went through the windscreen with me, but he was all right.
Yeah.
Because the next morning, my leg was, because I didn't have trousers on, I had a skirt on, and my leg was completely raw.
Mm.
I think you can still see there's bits of.
Oh God, yeah.
And up here, there's lines that you can't probably see it, and my back as well. It's like someone's got a black biro and drawn on me.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the A1 in my legs.
Gotcha.
And and I had a cradle over me so that nothing touched me, and my back was raw and my leg was raw all the way up, right the way up to my hip. And my face was a right mess. Sheila said, my sister, she said I looked like Quasimodo.
And that was 84, wasn't it?
Yeah, December the 11th, 84. My hair was bouffanted out. It was as if it had been backcombed with blood and glass.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had 2 massive shiners. I put my front tooth through my bottom lip, like Nanny McPhee. It was a mess. It was a mess. But Mike came in to see me the next morning, and I went, "Oh, Mike, if your fans could see you now."
Mm.
And he said, "Don't make me laugh. I've got a terrible headache." And then that day he slipped into a coma.
Yeah.
And had to have a tumour removed from his brain.
Okay.
No, sorry, not a tumour, a blood clot.
Yeah.
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 And it was really touch and go whether he was going to survive it or not. I mean, the surgeon said...
Everybody was worried at the time, weren't they? I remember.
Yeah.
You got your 2 little, no, they're not so little now, your daughters.
No, they're 30 this year.
And you went through, all the treatments to have your little girl.
IVF, I went through IVF. I was, when I got married, I was nearly 38. So, and Steve was nearly 40.
Mm.
So we left it quite a while to tie the knot. And I thought then, I'd known Steve. I met Steve in 1975 when I first started with Coco. So we didn't need to do all that getting to know you malarkey. Once we were married, we just wanted to start a family straight away.
Mm.
And so we, did what you do to get pregnant, and it didn't happen. And so I started taking my temperature and all that stuff, and still didn't happen. So I went to see a gynecologist, and he did all the exploratory stuff. And he said, "Oh, my dear," he said, "you've got the works. You've got endometriosis, you've got fibroids, and you've got scar tissue." He said, "You're never going to get pregnant."
Wow.
So he said, "I can operate, but there's a chance that it might not work, and then that'll be it. You'll have to have a hysterectomy." And I said, "Well, then I'm not prepared to do that."
No.
And my only other alternative, if I wanted children, was to go through IVF. Mm-hmm. So I did, and we did 2. The first one didn't work. Didn't produce many eggs either, actually. And then the second one didn't work, but I'd produced more eggs. There were 11. And what he said was they inserted 3 in those days. No, I don't think they can insert 3 anymore, but anyway. It didn't take, but it meant I had 8 eggs that were still okay.
Yeah.
And they froze them. And so the next cycle that I had, instead of going through the whole thing, because it's really not pleasant, it's intramuscular injections every day. It really plays havoc with your hormones and your body. You put on loads of weight. And anyway, I didn't have to go through that. They said, you've got frozen embryos. Let's try those.
Yeah.
And that's Kyla and Nat.
Ah, fantastic.
They were frozen embryos.
Yeah.
So, and they said the chances are pretty slim. They said 10% chance with frozen embryos, but when they actually took, they said, well, blimey, because you're having twins, actually your chances of success was 5% because there were 2 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And this is 29, 28 years. How old are they now?
They'll be 30 this year.
30,
So
yeah.
I gave birth to them when I was 40.
Mm.
And my 40th birthday, I remember it well, because I lived in Eltham at the time in southeast London, and I had my legs up. I was terrified. I'd had a scare at 20 weeks. I thought I was going to lose them. And, I've never smoked, so there was no smoking, but no drinking, nothing. There was nothing I was going to do that was going to jeopardise, me having these babies. And so my 40th birthday, I remember just laying on a sofa with my legs up. You think if you keep your legs up, you're going to keep the babies in,
Yeah.
So,
Gravity.
but anyway, they're, they're the best production I've ever made, that's for sure.
Do you think you're extra protective over them, bringing them up?
No, I'm not.
No.
I'm not.
No.
And they're really smart girls.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of confidence in them.
Yeah.
And one of them is a singer, isn't
No,
she?
they both sing, but she's not a professional singer. She's more of a songwriter, and they've written between them. They've written a musical called Public the Musical, and Kyla wrote. So their names are Natalie and Kyla, and Kyla wrote the music in lockdown, and she had this idea of 4 people from different walks of life being stuck in a gender neutral toilet,
Right.
and that's why it's called Public, And she's talked to Natalie. She said, these are the songs. Natalie helped her with lyrics to the song, helped her with the script. And they came up with this fantastic concept of the musical. They took it to Edinburgh Fringe, and it was the hot ticket.
Really?
Oh, wow.
They sold out every single show, every show. And I went up there several times to go see them, but I went up to see another show, and I walked in and I saw Gail Porter. I knew Gail, and we had a hug and everything. She said, why are you here? And I said, oh, because Kyla and Natalie have written this musical. And she said, what's it called? She said, I'll go and see it. I said, it's called Public Musical. And she went, oh, hang on a minute, hang on. Claire, and she called over Claire Grogan, from the Altered Images.
Yeah.
And she said, Claire, what was that show you told me I've got to see? And she said, you'll never get a ticket. She said, it's sold out every night, but it's called Public the Musical. She said, but it's brilliant. I went, oh, it's my daughter's. So anyway, as we speak, I don't know when this is going to go out, but as we speak now, at the end of May, Nats and Kyla are going up to Birmingham, and they're working on the script, and they've got producers that want to develop it. And I believe the thought is that in the spring of 25, Public the Musical will tour.
No, that'd be brilliant.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And from this, we've gone on to some charities that you're founder of. The Abigail's Footsteps.
I'm not a founder of that. The founders are David and Joe Ward. They had a stillborn baby called Abigail, and they wrote to me just after Abigail was born, as they say, they call it being born asleep, and they wrote to me, Cheryl Baker, Kent, I think it was, and it got to me, and they asked me. They said that they told me the story of Abigail, what happened, and that they were trying to raise money in those days. If you had a stillborn baby, sometimes that baby would just be taken away.
Really?
And, you know, you haven't even held the baby. It's, especially going back donkey's years, they literally, you know, never mind, at least you know you can have another one. And it was awful. It was awful. And because, especially for the mother, she's felt that baby, it's moved, it's been a living thing in her body, and suddenly it's not there anymore. And it was the most traumatic thing. And Jo, bless her heart, Jo went through an awful lot of anguish because of it. And they decided to start this charity up. And I thought, you know, the big charities, they get a lot of support.
Yeah.
It's the little charities that I like.
Yeah.
So I was happy to support them. And now, funny enough, I'm going to dinner with them next week.
Oh, there you go.
They went on to have a couple of kids, so that's a lovely story.
Yeah.
But Abigail's Footsteps now is much bigger. It's still tiny in comparison.
Yeah.
But they raise money they buy cold cots. They call them Abbey cots, and it means that it's a refrigerated cot because babies deteriorate very, really quickly. And it means that you can have your baby with you. They also fund suites, like a hotel suite.
Oh, okay.
And so that if you want to stay over on the night, and you can have your baby with you,
right,
and you can put clothes on the baby, and you can make memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also they train midwives into baby loss and the right and wrong things to say, you know, to the parents, and not just the parents, the grandparents, the siblings, you know. So they do some fantastic work, and I'm super proud to be a part of Abigail's Footsteps.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, France.
And the other one's Demelza, isn't it? You got that down?
No, I haven't got Demelza down, actually.
Demelza
We'd love you to talk about it.
Demelza is a children's hospice.
Right.
And I think it's blooming dreadful that there has to be such a thing as a children's hospice. But thank goodness there is. Again, Demelza wrote to me. Demelza was the name. Right, so there's a couple. He's a builder. They have a daughter, Demelza. She went to work, I think in Birmingham. She went to work for a children's hospice. Sadly, Demelza died, and the parents wanted to do something in her name. And because Demelza, you know, her life was looking after terminally ill children, they decided to build a children's hospice. And he's a builder, so he built it.
Yeah.
And that now is so much bigger. It's, you know, it's Kent and the southeast. They've also got one in southeast London. And they wrote to me in the very, very early days when it had just been built and said, will you help? So I've been part of Demelza even longer than Abigail. And what I've done as well, I'm a volunteer in their because Tunbridge is my local town. Yeah. So I'm a volunteer for Abigail. I go in there and help in their shop.
Oh, right. Excellent.
I like to do my bit.
People are surprised to see you behind the counter. So
that was a dog. Oh, you're right, mate. You got hay fever.
Oh, bless him. So you've had these wonderful children by a wonderful way of, you know, different to most people and all that. You've been a pop star. You've had #1 songs. You've had your own program. What is your proudest moment of everything? The best thing you've ever, you know?
There's a lot of great things that we've done. I've been so lucky, you know. I've been so lucky.
Well, no, you've earned it. You've worked hard.
While you think about that, you've had 3 #1s, am I right?
Yeah.
Because our researchers ain't very good, are they, Martin? Making Your Mind Up, The Land of Make Believe, and My Camera Never Lies. Which is your favourite?
The Land of Make Believe.
Is that?
Yeah, that was fantastic. So.
Well, shall I tell you the moment for me?
Yeah. This is the question I asked.
Yeah. And you won't believe this. When I was 16, and Sheila's 11 years older than me, so she was 27, we joined an amateur operatic society called the Cathedral Players. And at Christmas, we used to do big shows, like, you know, the big crinoline ones, like The Merry Widow and Die Fledermaus and all that kind of thing. But Christmas time, we would do a Christmas concert for the OAPs. And everyone did their own bit. And Sheila and I said, we'll sing Mary's Boy Child. And so the pianist said, have you got the music? And I went, no. So we did it a cappella.
Ah.
And I sang harmony, because I love the harmonies. And you could have heard a pin drop. And at the end, the whole hall, it was a church hall, they all stood. And that moment, I was 16, and I looked out and I thought, this is what I want.
Yeah.
This is what I want in my life.
Yeah.
It was the most, honestly, I can feel that now. I felt so warm
Makes
inside.
you feel tingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the happiest time. And I imagine that you'd expect me to say winning the Eurovision.
Yeah,
but
I did.
That moment was...
That was the turning
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
Well,
thought it
that
was
brings
gonna
us nicely on to pop star to opera star.
Ah,
Blimey.
yeah.
That
Yeah.
explains how you managed to make the jump.
Yeah, I saw you on that, obviously, but I never knew you did the opera stuff. But yeah, you was fantastic on that.
I didn't do the opera stuff until I did Pop Star to Opera Star.
Ah,
And shall I tell you how that came about? I had to audition for it.
really?
And yeah.
Oh, they didn't just. Oh, wow.
No, they just pick you.
That
You have to
surprised me.
audition.
Yeah.
So I went up to London and to the BBC, I think it was, and I went into this room where there was a singing teacher, and she had a piano, and she went, right, sing this. So I sang it, as I always do, the normal way that I sing.
Mhm.
And she went, okay, now sing Making Your Mind Up in opera. And I went, you've got to speed it up. And she said, now take the Mickey out of it, as if you're taking the Mickey out of an opera singer. And I went, la, la, la. And she went, that's it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
it. And and that's how I got it.
And you come
She
runner
was-
up.
She was so clever.
Mm.
I came runner up to Joe McElderry.
McElderry, yeah.
Joe McElderry, he didn't sing opera, but he had the voice of an angel. He's got the most fantastic voice.
Yeah.
None of us sang opera. There's no way that you can learn opera in a few weeks,
Yeah.
you know. So when we did the final, just me and Joe, at the end, the producer came down and said, Cheryl, you did so well. You got 30% of the vote. And I went, what do you mean I did so well? 30%? He said, well, Joe got 70% every single week. And I went, you're kidding me? But he was so popular
Yeah.
that, you know, there was no way that anyone else was going to win. It was always going to be Joe McElderry. And I didn't mind. I didn't mind. I was, you know, I was glad to get through. I'll tell you what the beauty of that was, getting through to the final. It meant that I could sing with Catherine Jenkins, the Flower Duet, you know, the BA advert.
Yeah, I remember the programme. I can't remember every bit of it. But so, is there any programmes on TV that you haven't done that you'd like to do?
Yeah, I'd love to do Strictly and I'd love to do The Jungle.
Strictly
and The Jungle. I'd like to do both of them.
I said, I'm going to get an envelope and put in there Strictly and get ready to open it at the end and say, what programme would you like to be on?
Out of the two of those, I think I'd rather do The Jungle.
Really?
I don't know why.
You get a holiday in Australia, I suppose.
Well, yeah, I always think about, you know, I'll be able to see Colin. So, yeah.
What's his name?
But the partners end up in the hotel eating 4-course meals every night while you're eating, I don't know, kangaroos' balls. I think.
Joe Pasquale, when he came on, he
won,
exclusively
didn't he, Joe?
said,
He did win,
no, he wants to do Strictly though.
He wants to do Strictly.
Yeah, he wants to do Strictly, definitely. So, yeah.
You've been on EastEnders as well.
Oh, that was a thrill.
Yeah.
I was so thrilled when that was last year, around about the Eurovision time. And the storyline was that they were having a Eurovision party. There's a gay club in EastEnders now, and they were doing this Eurovision party in the gay club. And I had to be, I think Rocky was always bragging about all the celebrities he knew, and they all were, oh yeah, not another one. There he goes again. And then I appeared. So, but I tell you what, walking into the square and seeing, you know, Albert Square and seeing the Queen Vic, and honestly, it was blimmin' great.
Yeah.
And seeing the stars.
Yeah.
You know, Gillian Talforth, I'm a big fan of Gillian Talforth, and it was so good. And actually, she played me.
Yeah.
She was in my outfit, the red and blue.
Right.
Yeah.
I suppose that appearance has really messed up you having a permanent role on EastEnders now, because you'd be ideal for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, being an EastEnder. I wouldn't mind being in it as Cheryl Baker, because I am an EastEnder, and the East End now is a hip place to live.
Yeah.
And so I'd love to just be in the occasional, you know, oh, Cheryl's here, you know, you're back from touring. Yeah. I'd love
On
that.
EastEnders.
Yeah, Pat was.
I was a barman.
Yeah,
I served Ricky Butcher. Yeah.
Did you? Ricky?
And his line was cut.
Thanks, Martin. Anyway, your turn.
No, I'm all questioned out.
Oh, so am I.
I want to sit here and listen to you.
Yeah,
I've been doing all.
I love that the dog's gone right in front of the camera. Look.
Yeah.
that's all right. Yes, sir.
Well, Cheryl, thanks for inviting us up.
Yeah.
And, well, I know I contacted you first, but I mean, it's been lovely to come and sit in your lovely garden with your lovely dog,
Cuba.
Cuba. And you've been so open, and as I say, everybody knows about your Eurovision, but it's nice that you talked about all your IVF and everything like that for people who've listened to this program who are probably going through the same thing. That's why we do this podcast. There's always someone out there, who wants to listen to these things, don't they?
Yeah.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Shall I make a cup of tea?
Oh yes, please.
I'll leave that bit in. Thanks, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I
Thank
like
you.
that.